So you've got the new tech job. Now what? Hello, my name is Uma, and in this video, I'll be giving you a few tips on how to thrive in your new tech job. First of all, congratulations. You did it. You got the job. You should be proud of yourself and celebrate this along with every other achievement in your life, even if you consider them small. With that out of the way, the first thing you should do at your new job is to start slow. Yes, you heard that right. Start slow. This goes contrary to everything we feel when starting a new job. As a new team member, you automatically want to jump in and prove your worth, show that you belong and provide value. While this is a good thing, most of the time it leads to a situation where you overwork yourself by taking up a lot of tasks and responsibilities. You just started the job, so you won't be familiar with a lot of things, which will then lead to frustrations and roadblocks to completing the task that you already took on. Even if you do complete the task, what you've done is set a baseline for your productivity level that's way above the average. Your team may now expect you to perform in that way all the time, which is not sustainable in the long run. There's always work to be done, and if you start by showing off you can work at a high level all the time, they will always give you work. Instead of going about it that way, take the first few weeks to get up to speed and on board. There's probably tons of trainings you have to do. Take your time and do them. Spend time reading documentation and familiarizing yourself with your team's charter and all the acronyms that the team uses. God knows we use a lot of acronyms. Set up one-on-one 5 to 10 minute meetings with the team members you'll be working closely with. Introduce yourself to them and get to know them a little bit more. You can do this over lunch as well. As time goes on, start with the little tasks that you can easily complete, then proceed to the more advanced ones. Those are just a few things you can do. I've been in situations where I did the opposite and found myself getting burnt out 2 months into the job. I was getting work done and being productive, but it was at a pace that wasn't sustainable. The next thing you should do is actively listen during meetings, pay attention, and ask questions. The first few team meetings you attend, like daily stand-up, backlog grooming, and the rest of them, will be a little bit confusing because it's the first time. You may understand the context of the meeting, but not the content. Everyone will be talking about what they're working on, and since it's your first time, it'll all be new stuff to you. This is the time to actively listen and ask questions. If you hear the team use an acronym multiple times, stop them and ask them what it means. If you need context as to why something is done a specific way that's different from what you're used to, ask why. Try to be present in the meetings and soak up as much information as you can. The next thing you should try to do is set expectations with your manager at the beginning. Over the years, I've learned that some managers do not necessarily like to tell you what to do. In situations like that, you have to take the lead. During your first one-on-one or check-in call, ask them what they expect from you in the first 30 to 60 days. Whatever they tell you, write it down and work towards that. The first few weeks should ideally be onboarding and getting used to the rhythm of business. After that, there should be some deliverables that you both set and agree on. It could be getting your first pull request in or making your first PR review or something. This way, you know you're working towards something that your manager is involved in. In subsequent one-on-ones, you can then talk about your progress or roadblocks related to those deliverables. Here's a tip I learned from a coworker recently. If you ask your manager, hey, how am I doing? Do you have any feedback for me? If you're a good employee, they'll most likely say you're doing good or everything is fine and they don't have any feedback. That response is good, but it doesn't quite give you the feedback that you want. Instead of asking it that way, try asking them what they would have done differently if they were in your shoes working on a project you're working on or in a situation you were in. This forces them to think about how they would handle the situation you're in, allowing them to share from their perspective. Ever since I started asking this way, I've always gotten a response. It works for asking for feedback from senior engineers and other members of the team as well. It may not always be the best answer, but at least it gives you a different opinion and a different viewpoint to consider. The final thing you should try to do early on is understand that you belong. Whether you took the traditional route and went to college or attended a boot camp or taught yourself how to code, it doesn't matter. There was an interview. Multiple people tested your knowledge of the subject matter. You've passed it and you got the job. In situations where things seem too complex to understand, or moments during meetings where everything being said is flying over our heads, our first instinct is often to question our knowledge and ability, eventually leading to imposter syndrome. I've been in those situations and I know what it feels like. In situations like that, try to break down how you feel and go based on facts. What do you know? What don't you know? And how can you bridge the gap? Most of the time, it leads back to asking questions, being more present, and making a conscious effort to learn. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback from people who have been there longer than you. That's one of the best ways to learn. Sooner or later, you'll realize that we're all trying to figure it out. The major difference between you and that person you have on a pedestal is experience, which comes with time. So be patient with yourself. Keep an open mind, be receptive to feedback, and most importantly, try to have fun and enjoy what you're doing. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching and see you next time.